Hey guys, first day of school. Wanted to kind of go over a couple things that we talked about. One of those being in math, the prime and composite. Kind of go over that quickly. When we have prime numbers and composite number, think of composite as something like compost, a bunch of things being put together. Sometimes they put it out there like the mulch that you see around the plants. A bunch of things together. When we go over prime, we're talking about 1. So when we have a number such as 7 and we want to find the factors of 7, the only factors we have are 1 times 7. That's the only way to make that number. When we talk about composite, they have more than those factors, more than one factor. So if I take the number 12, for example, I can make 12 by 1 times 12, but I can also make 12 with 4 times 3. I can also make it with 6 times 2. So we can see that this has 3 different ways of making the number 12. Hence, because of that, the number 12 would be composite. The number 7 would be prime. One of the things we also talked about today is the myth that odd numbers are prime. That's not true. The number 9, for example, is odd, but it can be made with 1 times 9 or 3 times 3. So that would make 9 a composite number. All right. Wanted to touch on a couple things that we did in science. Today we talked a little bit about forces. So when we have forces that are the same strength, they don't really go anywhere. They kind of push, hold like that. That means it is balanced. It's a balanced force. And this net force would be 0. But when we have something that's a lot bigger, that's pushing against a smaller force, it's going to be unbalanced, where this force is actually going to push that force out of the way. This force is going to be how much of a force it's pushing it. Now, there is a way of making this force equal to that. We can add more mass to it, or we can add velocity to it. Velocity and mass can sometimes equal a bigger object. The example that we used in class today is if you're running and a little dog is next to you, if that little dog doesn't have more mass than you, and probably not going to push or pull you in a certain direction. But if it's running with 4 legs, that means it's added velocity. A little dog running as fast as it can jumps on you, might knock you down. It has enough force, so it increases. So, balanced forces doesn't really go anywhere. If we have an unbalanced force, okay, it's going to move the object where it wants to, but mass and velocity can make them a little bit more equal. And remember, when we're talking about forces, we're basically talking about pushing or pulling. And we'll talk about other forces here in the next couple days, but that's the gist of what we did today. So, prime and composite and our forces. All right, you guys did a great job. I will see you tomorrow.